Take a single decadent chocolate chip cookie. Eating just one gives your body roughly 600 calories to process. The standard fitness advice suggests you can erase that choice if you are willing to pay the price in sweat. The belief is that outworking a poor diet simply requires enough physical exertion. But to burn off that single cookie, you have to sprint on a treadmill at near maximum capacity for 55 straight minutes. You are pushing your heart rate to the limit, gasping for air, and draining your immediate energy reserves. You repeat this exhausting cycle for months, yet when you check the mirror, the fat around your midsection remains unchanged. That intense output often works against its own goal. Sprinting forces your brain to trigger a massive hunger spike to recover from the physical strain. You finish the workout, your appetite takes over, and a quick post-gym meal can instantly erase the deficit you just agonized over. The calories in versus calories out equation becomes incredibly difficult to balance when driven by extreme cardio. Trying to outrun your fork through sheer physical exhaustion is a mathematically rigged game. To understand why belly fat is so resilient, we have to look past the calorie counter and examine the hormonal environment operating at the microscopic level. This is a 3D cross-section of a human fat cell. Its surface is lined with two types of signaling nodes: green beta receptors and red alpha receptors. These nodes serve opposing functions. When the green beta receptors are activated, they release stored fat to be burned as energy. When the red alpha receptors are engaged, they prevent that release, keeping the fat stored within the cell. The human stomach is packed with a much higher density of these fat-locking alpha receptors compared to the arms, legs, or face. When you push through an exhaustive, high-intensity workout, your body interprets that severe exertion as a threat. In response, it floods your bloodstream with the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol is the specific hormone that binds to those red alpha receptors. This interaction sends a direct signal to your midsection to retain the fat it holds. Pushing your heart rate to the absolute limit doesn't necessarily melt away your gut. It often signals your body to hoard that fat as a survival response to the stress you've introduced. This diagram illustrates your body's two primary fuel sources. On the left is a small, immediate tank of blood sugar and glycogen. On the right is a massive reserve tank, your stored body fat. High-intensity activities like sprinting predominantly drain the small sugar tank. Because this tank is limited, its depletion triggers a severe hunger alarm in your brain, demanding quick calories to refill the reserve. Low-intensity movement, like a brisk walk, requires a different energy profile. This pace allows the body to bypass the sugar tank and draw energy directly from the deep fat silo without triggering those emergency hunger signals. By keeping your heart rate in this steady state, you can sustain the use of body fat for fuel while avoiding the metabolic stress that leads to overeating. Since you cannot simply outrun the caloric density of modern food, the alternative is to use low-intensity movement to manage how your body processes those calories. The first operational rule is insulin stacking. This involves taking a 10-minute walk immediately after you finish any meal. This chart shows the blood sugar response after eating. Normally, a meal causes a sharp spike, which prompts insulin to store those calories as fat. Moving your muscles immediately after eating intercepts that sugar to use as fuel, flattening the spike into a manageable wave. Accumulating 10,000 steps through these casual, everyday habits allows you to match the caloric burn of an intense gym session, but without the physical exhaustion or the accompanying stress response that drives hunger. For those focusing on treadmill efficiency, one protocol is particularly effective for sustaining a high-fat utilization heart rate, the 12-3-30 method. You set the treadmill to a 12% incline and walk at 3 miles per hour for 30 minutes. However, you must not hold the handrails. Keeping your arms swinging freely forces your core and legs to stabilize your body, engaging the systems that keep you in the fat-burning zone. It is important to remember that walking is a supplement to nutrition, not a replacement for it. A diet that significantly exceeds your needs will still lead to fat storage, regardless of your step count. Nutrition provides the foundation for weight loss. Low-stress walking acts as the amplifier, aligning your lifestyle with the movement patterns humans are naturally designed to sustain.
Okay, look, if you think walking is just, a basic way to get from point A to point B, or maybe just some leisurely Sunday activity, You're going to want to completely shift your perspective today. We're diving into this explainer on what's called the walking blueprint. And the core premise here, it's simple, but honestly, scientifically profound. Walking isn't just basic movement. It is an absolute metabolic powerhouse. Seriously, it's the ultimate turbocharger for your body's internal systems, and we're going to unpack exactly how you can leverage this, literally starting today.
So, here's our blueprint for the day. First, crushing blood sugar spikes. Then, the power of NEAT. Third, the famous 12-30-30 method. Fourth, a quick diet reality check. And finally, your 12-week roadmap.
All right, part 1, crushing blood sugar spikes. This is the biological hook.
This crushes blood sugar spikes. That's a direct quote from our source material. And honestly, it sets the stage perfectly. Picture this, right? You've just finished a heavy dinner. Naturally, your blood sugar is starting to spike up, which, as we know, usually leads to that dreaded energy crash and signals your body to start storing fat. But if you just take a calm walk, say under the evening streetlights, it completely flattens that glucose curve. It's literally an immediate biological intervention.
So why does this happen? Well, muscles use glucose for fuel. When you're walking right after a meal, your leg muscles are contracting over and over again. They act like these massive sponges, just literally pulling excess glucose right out of your bloodstream. If you were to check your health app after a post-dinner walk, you're not going to see some massive, dangerous mountain on your glucose chart. Nope, you're going to see a nice, stable, healthy flat line. It's amazing.
Moving on to part 2, the power of NEAT. This is where the behavioral shift happens.
Listen, NEAT is the absolute secret here. So what exactly is it? NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically, it's the energy we burn doing literally everything that isn't sleeping, eating, or, dedicated sports-like exercise. This specific biological mechanism is your secret weapon for sustainable fat loss. People always hyper-focus on that 45 minutes they spend sweating it out in the gym, completely ignoring the fact that NEAT accounts for a massive chunk of your total daily metabolic burn.
And here's the best part. You can hit 10,000 steps almost accidentally, just by tweaking your everyday habits. Seriously, you intentionally park at the very back of the grocery store lot. You pace around the office during phone calls instead of just sitting there at your desk. You take the stairs while everyone else crams into the elevator. Take the dog out in that crisp morning sunlight, or just take a brisk walk during your lunch break. When you stack these little micro habits, your smartwatch step counter just climbs naturally, from 3,200 to 5,800 to 8,900, right up to 10,000. You're burning significant calories without even putting on workout gear.
Which brings us to part 3, the 12-3-30 method, your optimization tool.
All right, meet the undisputed king of fat loss, 12-3-30. If you're at the gym, this is your nuclear option. It means setting the treadmill to a 12% incline at a speed of 3 miles per hour for exactly 30 minutes. Guys, incline walking is nuclear. Walking uphill at that steep of an angle heavily activates your glutes and your calves. It drives your heart rate way up and puts you in the state of controlled, heavy breathing. You get all these incredible cardiovascular and fat loss benefits, but without the heavy joint-pounding impact of running. But listen to me, there is an absolute non-negotiable rule for this method. Do not hold the rails, okay? When you hold on to the treadmill rails, you're leaning back, you're offloading your body weight, and you're totally destroying the mechanical benefits of the incline. Don't do it. The correct way is keeping a strong, upright posture with a free arm swing. You actually have to let your core stabilize you. Finding that natural walking rhythm with your arms moving freely is 100% mandatory if you want those metabolic results we've been talking about.
Next up, part 4, the diet reality check. Time to manage some expectations. Here is the harsh truth. You absolutely cannot outwalk bad nutrition. Let's consider 500 calories for a second. The source actually uses the example of a single massive sugary frappuccino to visually shock us. I mean, it takes maybe 5 minutes to drink, but the sheer amount of energy packed into that cup, or say a few slices of pizza, or a couple heavy slow-motion spoonfuls of peanut butter, it is staggering.
To put that into perspective, it takes a solid 90-minute walk to burn off that one 500-calorie drink. Just let that sink in for a second. One quick, poor nutritional choice demands a massive hour and a half of continuous walking just to neutralize the impact. When you actually look at your calorie totals on your phone app and measure it against the time required to burn it off, the reality check hits hard. Walking is incredible, yes, but it cannot fix a diet built entirely on junk food. So here is the golden rule. Use diet for weight loss and use walking to amplify it. Think of it like this. Your diet is the engine, and walking is the turbo. Imagine a high-performance sports car, right? Your diet is that heavy-duty core engine. It's the primary driver required for weight loss. Walking is the turbocharger. When you have a solid, well-tuned engine, walking kicks in with this powerful roar to massively amplify your results. But a turbo attached to a broken engine? Yeah, that won't even get you out of the driveway. All right, let's bring it all together in part 5, your 12-week roadmap, the action plan.
Here is your exact 12-week roadmap. For weeks 1 through 4, your one and only goal is to build the habit. Seriously, don't even stress the numbers yet, just get moving. Then, in weeks 5 through 8, we push for 8K daily steps, really ramping up that NEAT we talked about. Finally, weeks 9 through 12, you aim for 12K steps, plus incorporating that incline method. Starting small like this naturally leads to a highly visible, real-deal body transformation over just 3 months.
But look, every 12-week journey starts with a single week. I challenge you to commit to just 7 days. Start walking today. Give it one single week of intentional effort and just watch for those initial changes. You know, like noticing your jeans are fitting a bit looser or feeling that unmistakable surge of energy throughout your day.
At the end of the day, walking is what humans were biologically designed to do. It's the most natural, foundational movement our bodies literally crave. We're built to walk toward the sunrise, to move confidently through our lives. The science is totally clear. The blueprint is laid out, and your turbocharger is ready to go. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. When will you take your first intentional step toward the new you?